Hey there, this is Dave Gardner, your Now Lifestyle Master Trainer, and I'm super excited to be getting into the next video with you right now. In this video, we're going to create our first form and just show you the simplicity in how you can create forms. And so, just like we've done in other scenarios, we want to make sure that we are lining our system up correctly when we use our Now Lifestyle email autoresponder. And so you want to make sure that you are in the right campaign. So make sure you choose the correct campaign for your list, because that's going to tie in and make sure that you get the right subscribers going into the right places, and of course following up to the right locations as well with thank you pages, so on and so forth. So our generic list that we've been talking about through all of these videos that we're sticking with is the idea of dogs. And so again, just to share and to think about this for a minute, I'm just doing a random test and sample just to give you an example and show you ways that we can use these powerful tools. And if I can just do something simple as this with dogs, just think about what you could do with any niche that you are specializing in, or maybe some strategies that you have, and maybe some techniques, and maybe you're a master in something else. Maybe you're a cat lover, you can create something. Maybe you own a pizza shop, you can create powerful things and follow-ups once you have access to these tools and once you actually are using these tools and taking advantage of them. So we want to make sure we're in the right campaign, and then there's a series of things we want to follow through that kind of tie in with some of the things we've talked about already in the other videos. So let's just say it's my initial campaign, and so we're just going to do dog lovers blog. So let's say this is on my blog. Maybe it's on the capture page. Maybe you don't even have a blogger. Maybe you're in the process of using the Authority website builder, or maybe you're going to use the landing page builder. You're going to use all the tools that are associated with the Now Lifestyle, and you're actually going to use those and incorporate those. I'm going to show you a little bit how that works here in just a minute. And so let's just say we have the dog lovers blog, because you want to know where this capture page exists or where this capture form is. Now there's a couple options here, and notice we can choose an English male, female, Spanish, Russian male, Russian female, Polish, or we can do custom. I always choose custom because I want to direct where the person goes. And if you're going to do a single opt-in, I would highly recommend always choosing custom URL and never using one of these others. Now, if you want to make it a double opt-in, notice down at the bottom we got this option for choosing double opt-in. You could pick one of these, and I just want to show you what that looks like. Notice how it says click here to view the page. So when we click, we get this window that pops up. So let's say someone goes to your website and they fill in your form. So they're looking at the pictures of the dogs, whatever the enticing offer is, and they put in their name and their email, and then bam, all of a sudden it says, congratulations, you're almost done. Please activate your subscription. You've just been sent an email that contains, so on and so forth. And then down at the bottom, you're going to go and just read and see that you have to go check that email. And so sometimes this is kind of like an emotional killer when someone really wants to be able to get what you promised them right away. And so that's, again, if you're going to be doing a double opt-in. Now we can also listen to it. So for example,
congratulations, you're almost done. You've just been sent an email with a confirmation link. Please visit your email now and
so again, just to give you an example, if you want to do that in a different language, so for example, we could do a Spanish female. Notice we have different language, so here it is in Spanish. We're going to hear her speak.
Felicitaciones, ya casi termina. Por favor, confirme ya.
Now, if that's your intent to just make them go right to their email and start to train them to get email, then that's perfectly okay if that's what you like. But again, like I said, that's often suitable for double opt-in. But if you want to direct them right to a page, you want to use the custom URL. So notice how it changes here. So we're going to put a custom URL. And I'm just going to kind of walk through some. Again, we used, for example, the dog lovers, I believe, .com, and then we can call it the thank you report. And again, I'm just making this up. You would want to do it to a site and a page that you know that is legitimate and actually works. Now, notice it says already subscribed thank you page. I like to have it go to the same place. Okay, I like to have it go to the same place. And so when they do go to that same place, let's say they came in, a month later, 2 months later, and they forgot that they already opted in, this would bring them back again to that same page so they can get that report again. If you want to add some other code, you could add some other code and that will follow along. We talked about that I believe under the campaigns is the ad tracking. Again, a little more high tech. If you want to have certain campaigns in certain global fields, custom fields, you can pass the data along. So when they enter their name, so for example, let's say they enter their name on the next page, it could actually say, hey, thanks for joining, Dave, blah, blah, blah. It would actually personalize it. Again, if you want it to be double opt-in, you need to make sure you go back and watch the subscribers videos where we talked about, or excuse me, the message videos where we talked about the opt-in video, because you want to make sure if it's a double opt-in, they actually have the ability to go through and click that link. So again, make sure you watch those videos again. Now, once you've done that, you have a couple things to choose from. Down at the bottom, you have to have the email available, because that's the whole point of the autoresponder. It's to call an email autoresponder. So the email has to be available. You cannot change that one. Notice the little, no sign pops up. Now, as far as the full name, you can choose and elect what you want. Now, notice this no sign is still showing up here because my radio button, I believe that's what they're called here, is chosen up here for those two versions of first name and last name, two separate boxes. Personally, I find that is extra info to ask for. A lot of times, if the less things you have to ask for, the more likely you are to get the response. So I will change, and I'll often click and choose on this one. I'll make it visible, but you don't necessarily have to make it required. If someone opts in and they don't put their name, it would usually pop up an error and tell them that they are required to do this. At the bottom, you could change the submit text. So be like, yes, I want the dog goods now. Okay, and what we're going to do, we're just going to click add, and that's going to save it so that we have our first campaign. Now I can go back and edit this. Notice, because we just created it, it was successfully created. I got my blog. It hasn't been displayed. It hasn't been submitted anywhere. There's no rates, but these are the things that you can see. You can see how many times it's been displayed. You can see how many people have actually entered their information. That would be a submission. The rate would be how many people opted in. That would be a percent of submissions over the displays. The opt-in type, right now it's an S, that stands for single opt-in. If it was a D, it would be a double opt-in. And then you could talk about other information, whether it's bounced or if they had to send that opt-in message. I can go and I can edit it. I can go back. Let's say I want to change the page at which it forwards to. Maybe I want to turn it from a single to a double opt-in. You can go in and edit these over time. I can preview it. So if we pop and hit that open and I dragged it over here, notice we see the full name. Please enter the email, and yes, I want the dog goods now. So that's a generic idea of what it would look like if you just use the raw HTML. And so I want to show you a couple options here and just show you the power, because we can grab the HTML, which is all of this code. So if you are using a website, or if you're using a software that's requesting you to enter the code, this is the code you would want to add. You would just copy this code wherever they asked for your autoresponder code, and you would just right click and copy it, highlight the whole thing, right click and copy it. And then if you have another person maybe doing the work for you, you can share that with them. Or if it's a certain part of your website, you could actually enter that into the website. And then we have some other options here as well, making a popover window, or if maybe I'm not finding this one beneficial and I've gotten rid of the page, maybe you can delete it. So I just want to show you quickly what you would actually do with this now. So we have the code copied. I'm going to open up in another window. I'm going to open up our powerful landing page builder, which you also get as a Now Lifestyle member. And so we're going to close the video. You may or may not have one in here at this point. And so you may be creating your own page. I'm just going to show one that's edited. So we're only seeing part of this here. Once it gets opened, we can play around and we can add and click, and we can drag and we can move things around. So once it gets in there, this one already has an autoresponder box here. I just want to show you a little bit different. So we're going to drag in something. I'm going to drag one in there. We got a 2-column box, and I'm just going to scroll down and I'm going to see the autoresponder. So notice how it says NLS autoresponder integration. I'm just going to click and drag that, and it pops up a nice shaped form. And I can go in and edit this. And so if I click in the box, I can edit it, because right now it's just a barren box. But now that I've created this display and I've got a dog lovers campaign, I can go into the edit function in this little gear, and I can choose the campaign. So I want to choose the dog lovers. because again, this is the campaign that's in. And if I want it double opt-in, I can check the box. If not, I would just get rid of it. If I want to send to a different capture page, or excuse me, a different thank you page, I would enter that thank you page there just so we know where it's going. So again, I believe we have http doglovers.com/ and then I had thank you report. Okay, because this again will allow the option to change. Now, if I don't like the way this looks, I can change. There's different skins. We can make a little bit shorter, narrower. If we want a little background image, we got a little city. And so we have a couple different options. And again, these are things that you can play around with as you develop and go through time. So that's just automatically pulling it in, because the power of the page builder is that it actually has your campaigns in there. So there's your dog lovers, there's your leash buyers, and there's our Now Lifestyle leads. Okay, so it's super powerful. Now, just for the sake of this video, I'm going to delete this because I don't want to mess up the original page. But let's change what we have here. So let's get rid of this, and we're going to get rid of this. I'm gonna basically close this and exit because I don't want anything to be saved and messed up from what was originally there. And so we're going to exit, and I'm just going to open it up again, and I'm going to show you using that code. So if you remember, we took code and we copied it. And I want to show you how that looks as well. So we're going to let this warm up again, just to show you the different ways you could do this on your website. And we're going to add in a little section here. Oops. There we go. And in there, I want to be able to add code. So all I got to do is go down and find the text or the code. In this case, it's going to be HTML code. So I'm going to enter code in there, and I'm just going to Control A, whoops. Let's see, it would be better just to highlight it. So edit my HTML content. Notice there's a little icon in here. If I just do this, I can text and it will start to change, and it could possibly change. But what I really want is this little bracket or carrots. And I want to go in here and I want to highlight that, and I'm going to right click it and I'm going to do paste. And when I paste that, there's all that fancy code. I click save, and notice here's my box. Now, it doesn't look as nearly nice and as crisp and clean as that other thing that we saw a few minutes ago when we used the actual system of just dragging in the autoresponder. Okay, so again, if I bring this over here, notice how much nicer that looks. I can just click on this and I can tie it in to the dog lovers list. Maybe I want it double opt-in, maybe not. That looks a lot nicer, but again, there is some benefit. If you just have the raw code, some cases you might need to put this in there. If you're using another third-party autoresponder, I don't know what, or service, I don't know why you would use another page builder, because you have one right here available. But if someone, let's say you're doing solo ads, or you're doing some other thing where the provider is requiring, maybe they're building another page for you that they have, you would give them this code. Or maybe you just are a programmer, you want to do it from scratch, that's where your code would be. So again, the power of just using those two different examples for this case. So again, we're going to get rid of this. I'm not going to save it, but just to show you the two different ways of how you can actually take either the actual code that we did, so that would be the actual HTML code, and we ended up with something like this, okay, very generic, very basic, versus actually getting something that looks very nice. Now, if you want to choose a totally different design, make sure you look at the form wizard, because that actually has some other styles and types of forms that can be created using our powerful email autoresponder with the Now Lifestyle program. Again, this has been Dave Gardner. Thank you for watching along with this training video. Hopefully you found some immense value. If you have any questions or comments, you can always join us and hit us up in the Facebook group or support tab up top. We really want to hear about your successes with these tools and how you're actually implementing them into your niche, because we want to help the family out. So as I always say, you get out of it what you put into it. And the big question that I always have for you is, with all these awesome tools that you have in the Now Lifestyle family, what will you create to make your legacy, and what will you create to help others so that you can make a difference in the world today?